Good morning, class 7. Good evening and good afternoon to all those who are watching me. Great to be back again in front of you after quite some time, isn't it? Now, just because EVS is also a minor subject, that is why we are not going to have every week classes. We have scheduled our classes because our syllabus is also very less. There are 4 chapters in Unit 1 and 4 chapters in Unit 2. Now, Unit 1, Water Resources, we have already completed, isn't it, children? So, today we are going to do a different chapter, alright? Let me write down the date first. I hope you are able to see the board, children. I'll use a different color pen. Okay, it's 3rd of July. Alright, sorry, it's the 4th of July 2020. And it's a Saturday. Now again, as I always normally do, I will divide the chapter into maybe 2 parts or 3 parts, okay? Because it's a long chapter, it has about 12 pages, so I will not do the chapter entirely today, okay? The name of the chapter is Air. Atmosphere as a reservoir. Excuse me, children. Yes, I've got a bad cough. I hope everybody's taking care of your health. Yes, please ensure that you have lukewarm water because the weather is such you tend to have cough and cold, fever. So you should take great care of yourself because now we cannot afford to have, catch cold and have fever. Okay, we have to take care of ourselves. Now, as you know, air is a very, very important, component of the along with the biosphere in the biosphere. Okay, so as we know, biosphere is also known as, what is the biosphere? Okay, now there are 4 components in the earth, isn't it? I mean the layers of the earth. One is the hydrosphere, okay, that means water. Lithosphere, rock, okay. Biosphere is there, okay, and atmosphere, okay. Now, what is biosphere? Biosphere is also known as ecosphere, okay? Ecosphere, and it is the only zone of that earth which makes life possible on it. So, atmosphere as a reservoir, I mean, air in the atmosphere is very, very essential because we need air to breathe, isn't it? So, I'll just draw this for you, children. I'll then explain. What is the role of the atmosphere? I hope, children, it is visible. Okay. Now, I will also give you screenshot of this. Okay. I will also give you screenshot of this. The number of pages I'm going to do today. I'll just give you a screenshot of the same. I'm sure you can see the board and you'll see that nitrogen has the maximum, part in the composition of the air. Now, 78%, okay, and other gases is 1%. Since I cannot write here, so I'm not writing here, or I can just write in short. 78% of air, and so the rest 21%, okay, 21% oxygen. Alright, oxygen. Now, so you know what role the atmosphere plays. I hope this is visible. I'll now just rub and tell you the main points, okay? What role it plays. Now, atmosphere, you know, all around the earth is about 800 kilometers, okay? All around the earth, the atmosphere is about 800 kilometers, fine? And what is the role which it plays, okay? The main key point. As you know, air is very, very important, isn't it? For any living being, as they cannot live without food and water, similarly they cannot live without air, because from the air they breathe in oxygen, and oxygen, as you've seen, only 21%. That is why they say that you should not cut down on trees, you should conserve forests, isn't it? You should see that there is more of afforestation. I think these terms we had already done in the previous chapter. Afforestation, that means growing of trees, should be there to promote more oxygen, isn't it? It is from the plants and trees that we get more oxygen. And you know, no, I just wanted to tell you, bamboo is a plant, okay? Bamboo, I'm sure you know, bamboo plant gives out the maximum amount of oxygen, okay? And there is also another particular indoor plant, you know, it's called a snake plant, okay? I have just set it out in the balcony, you know, because I wanted it to get a little bit of rain, you know, water. So otherwise I would have shown you what is this thing. It's an indoor plant, and I'm sure that your parents will know. It's thick, it's got the characteristics of cactus, and it has prints of white in it. That also gives out a lot of oxygen, you know. So in the room, especially in cities such as Delhi, where the pollution is so high, you know, where you get a lot of emission of toxic gases in the air, there you will see most of the houses having rubber plants and snake plants in, you know, because that gives out a lot of oxygen. Similarly, bamboo plants, if you go to any resort and all, you know, resort is a place of, you know, just rest and stay and amusement, where you spend some time. If you go to those places, you will see that, you know, they grow a lot of bamboo plants. Why? Because the supply of oxygen from these plants are enormous compared to the other plants. Alright, so now the planet Earth is surrounded, you know, is surrounded by a protective, you know, by a protective shield, which is gaseous in nature, by a gaseous envelope. What is envelope? You know, the envelope is that paper, it's like a packet wherein you post letters and all. Hardly we post letters these days. We are so much into WhatsApp and email, you know. We are that particular we are in that particular stage where we are no more used to writing letters and posting cards. You will come across very few people posting greeting cards. It's mostly either you put up a story on Facebook, or you just you know, text or send or WhatsApp a graphic interface card, isn't it? A GIF card, alright? Or else you email, you know, birthday message. We have stopped writing letters, and you know, that is taking a toll on your creative writing also, on maybe mine also, because I also hardly write. I'm so much into calling and WhatsApping and, you know, emailing, that, you know, the practice of writing letter is no longer that persistent. It does not exist to such an extent what it was maybe about 8 to 10 years back. Okay, so let us come back to what is the atmosphere. The planet Earth is surrounded by a gaseous envelope which acts as a protective shield, okay, which acts as a protective shield, you know, which acts as a protective shield. You know what is that shield? Shield is that when you're especially, you know, fighting on foot. You will see when soldiers are fighting on foot, they have a shield, a metal disc with which they guard themselves from either sword wounds or maybe bullet wounds. Okay, they protect themselves. That atmosphere also acts like that. Okay, and as I said, it surrounds around, it surrounds the earth about 800 km. Okay, 800 kilometers. So you can imagine the distance. It's all enveloped. It's like surrounded with it. Okay. Now, so this is what the role of the atmosphere was. I'll just explain the chapter today first, not the full chapter. Okay. Now, what are there? The atmosphere is made up of layers. Okay, it is made up of 5 layers. It is made up of 5 layers. Excuse me, children. Okay, the atmosphere is made up of 5 layers. All right. Now, what are they? The first one. This is something I'm sure you must have studied in geography in the previous class. Yes, children, because I remember teaching this in geography as well. The first one is exosphere. Why is EVS having part of geography? Because it is a combination of social science as well as science. Okay, that is why it's environmental science or environmental studies. Okay, EVS is a combination of both. So what is the exosphere? Now children, this is the book, as you know. You must read the chapter till the page what I am doing. Okay, this is the chapter which is page number 16. Okay, so you must read the number of pages I am teaching thoroughly. Okay, thoroughly, because I am giving you questions mostly from inside and 1 or 2 from the exercise given at the back. Okay, alright. So the questions what I am giving you from inside covers the questions which are given at the end of your chapter. Alright, you will get short questions, you will get very short questions, you will get short questions, and you will also get long questions. Alright. Now, exosphere, the term itself means it is exo, means it's out. Okay, so it is the outermost region of the earth, and it is thin. You know, it is very thin to be considered as a part of the atmosphere. It is very thin, and it is the most extreme part of the atmosphere. You know, like it's the outer part, the last part of the atmosphere, and it is very thin. Okay, and what does it have in it? It has in it hydrogen and helium. Okay, these are the 2 gases. So it is thin layer. Okay. It is the outermost layer. Outermost layer, and it has hydrogen and helium in it. Okay, it has hydrogen and helium in it. So this is what is exosphere. Now moving on to the second layer. Okay, let me use the board. Please cooperate and adjust with my tiny board. I'm so sorry because I don't have a big board, you know, because big board is going to take up a lot of space in the wall, so I couldn't manage to hang it because in a flat, you know, rooms are very restricted, isn't it? You have just the number of rooms allocated to the number of members in the house. If it is a house, then you have a place for another room. But in a flat, it's like it's already, you know, structured by the promoters and also developed. So please bear with me, children, for my tiny board. Now the second one is thermosphere. Okay. Now this is just, this is just above the mesosphere. Mesosphere is also another layer of the atmosphere. This is just above the mesosphere, and the temperature out here rises, it increases along with the height. So it is just above the mesosphere. Mesosphere is another layer of the atmosphere. It is just above the mesosphere. Temperature rises or increases with height. So temperature rises with height. Alright. These are the two characteristics of thermosphere. If I ask you to define, I'm sure you can take these catch points and write the definition. Okay. Now next is the mesosphere. Just now we were talking about the mesosphere because the thermosphere is just above the mesosphere. Okay. Now this region is above the stratosphere. It is above the stratosphere. Okay, this is just above the stratosphere, and it is the coldest part of the atmosphere. It is the coldest part of the atmosphere. It is the most coldest part of the atmosphere. Okay. And this is also this includes the lowest part of the atmosphere. It is the lowest. Remember, exosphere was the outermost part, and this is the lowest part of the atmosphere. So we know about exosphere, we know about thermosphere, and we know about mesosphere now. Now what are the other two layers? Okay, other two layers. Here in EVS, it will be in brief, because had it been in geography, it would have been very, very elaborate. There's a particular layer, I'm sure you will recollect, okay, which helps in transmission of radio and satellite waves. Okay, there's a layer which helps in the flight of the, that layer of the atmosphere helps for airplanes. Okay, so here we are touching it in brief. We will not go into details, because anyway you will do it in your geography. Now, stratosphere. Now children, I hope you all have done those two experiments. Okay, walking water, and the other one was DIY lava lamp. Remember? So again, after this chapter gets over, I'll do another experiment with air. Okay, and something which is going to be easy for you to do. Alright. Now stratosphere. This is the region which is above. Region above the troposphere. This layer is above the troposphere. Okay. Here temperature does not fall with altitude. Okay, temperature, it does not fall. That means it does not decrease. It does not fall with altitude, means with height. Okay, did not fall with altitude. Okay. So what happens as a result of this? Temperature is constant, because it does not fluctuate. There is no deviation with height. It is constant. We had just been we just read about thermosphere, where With altitude, what happened? The temperature rises, but here the temperature does not, there is no fluctuation. It does not fall with height. It is constant. Okay. So this is stratosphere. Now we come to the last layer of the atmosphere. Okay. We come to the last layer of the atmosphere, which is the troposphere. Now we had spoken about exosphere. Now the last layer is troposphere. Okay, this is the last layer of the atmosphere. So according to the season, this is the layer which is responsible for season and latitude. What happens? The weather and its height varies. Okay, its height varies. So weather results in this layer. Okay, this is the lowest of all the layers. Okay. Weather results in this layer. So this layer has a very significant role to play. Okay, in this layer only the weather, different weather conditions takes place. And in this layer the temperature falls with height. Okay, temperature falls with the increase in height. So till here we are clear. We are talking about atmosphere. We know what is atmosphere. Okay, it is that important part of air which helps any living organism to survive, because we need air for breathing. Now what is the role of the atmosphere? We know, okay, it envelops the entire earth about 800 kilometers, okay, and acts as a protective shield. And it is not just one, the word itself, atmosphere has so many layers, isn't it? It has the exosphere, thermosphere, mesosphere, stratosphere and troposphere. Okay. Now what do you mean by blanket of earth? Okay. We say that it moves, the atmosphere acts as a blanket of earth. What is blanket? Blanket, what does it, what does the word blanket mean? The word blanket means you use it to cover yourself, isn't it? It means protection. Okay, whenever we feel cold, we use a blanket to protect us. Protective shield is the other word. Okay, so what does it do? Basically it saves us from all kinds of cosmic rays, meteors. Lately you must have seen there was a meteor which is very close to Earth in the previous, in the last month. Remember, in the month of May, not even June, in the month towards the end of the month of May. Okay, we had a meteor coming very close. It passed through our, almost closer to Earth. Okay, it almost came in the root of the Earth. Okay, in the pathway of the Earth. So scientists were very, very anxious, and we were also very worried. All those who read, there's a particular page called metaphysics. Okay, you can just go through that. That is extremely good. It gives you a lot of information about science. It gives you a lot of information about space. Okay, so you can just go through that page. Meteors and ultraviolet rays as well. Why? Because it has the presence of the ozone layer. Ozone layer is actually the protection cover which is present in which layer of the atmosphere? The stratosphere. Ozone layer is present in the stratosphere. Okay, it is that layer of the stratosphere which protects us from all of these cosmic rays, ultraviolet rays of the sun and meteors. Okay, so children, I will not proceed much because it's quite elaborate. Okay, now I will also let you know about few important words which I normally give you to write in your notebook. Our notebook is an interleaf notebook. Children, you must do your homework in that. Maybe towards the end of the last chapter, I will ask you to send me an attachment of whatever you have done for EVS in your notebook so that I can just go through once whether you have done it or not. What is an interleaf? One side blank and one side, yes, one side blank and one side ruled. Now this particular diagram what I had drawn, the composition of air is very, very important. Now we will come across few new words. Combustion. Okay, combustion again is very common in chemistry. Okay, what does combustion mean? It means the burning of substances with the combination of oxygen in the air. Okay, so we will come across this word. Secondly, we will come across humidity. We speak about humidity a lot, isn't it? The moment we get to feel the monsoon season, taking over the entire city, we say it's become so humid and hot. So what happens? Humidity means the presence of water vapor in the air. Okay, that makes you feel a bit hot because it's sweat. It makes you sweat, it makes you perspire. Okay, so that is called humidity, the presence of water vapor. Now convection. Now convection is again a very, very common word. You will get to hear convection oven. So what does it do? It is the process of transferring heat in liquids and gases. Okay, in liquids and gases, it is the process of transferring heat in liquids and gases. As the hotter part rises, and what happens? The cooler, heavier part, it starts sinking. It starts getting drowned. Okay, so that process is called convection. The process of transferring heat in liquids and gases, and we need convection, convection ovens for baking, especially for grilling, for baking. Okay, even for cooking, whether it's a microwave. So convection plays a very it's a process of transferring heat present in the liquids and gases. Okay, so what happens? The hot air rises. It's almost like land breeze and sea breeze. Okay, the cool air sinks and the hot air rises up. So similarly, convection is that process. Okay, now what is acid rain? Now when we were doing water as a resource, okay, this is air as a resource, now water as a resource, mineral resource, we had spoken about rain, isn't it? Rainfall is very, very important for us. It helps us to preserve water and everything. So acid rain is basically the falling of acid from the atmosphere. And what acid are they normally? Sulfuric acid and nitric acid. So sulfuric acid and nitric acid. So why does this happen? It is because of the industrial activity which happens. The gases go up in the air, they combine, they mix, and that's the time acid rain occurs, and it is very, very toxic, and it is very harmful. It is very harmful. Now we have also come across the word fossil fuels in the previous chapter. Okay, fossil fuels also in the previous chapter. Now fossil fuels is considered to be very, very important and in demand mineral component, because from this only you extract, isn't it, fuel, okay, petroleum. So what is it? They are remains of dead animal and plants. the remains of dead animal and plants. And what happens? Not like something which dies today and immediately you get. No, it's over a period of time. It gets buried and there's a transition, transformation, and that's the time you get, you get coal, petroleum and natural gas extracted from this. This takes years and years, thousands of years, billions of years, okay? Fossil fuel. Now, what is greenhouse effect? This is also a very important term. Now children, these are to be learned and written in your notebook. Okay, these are to be learned and written in your notebook. So what happens? The emission, the letting out of carbon dioxide, the letting out of CO2 in the atmosphere when you burn fossil fuels. Okay, so what happens? What does it do? It prevents the solar energy from going back. Okay, from going back into the space. What is solar energy? The solar, the word itself means sunlight. Okay, the energy. So when you burn fossil fuels, CO2 is emitted. Okay, emission means exhausted or taken out, exhaled. So that stops the radiating of the solar energy from going back into the space. So greenhouse effect is very, very essential again. So these are the catchwords, children. I have done only 3 chapters, alright, today. 3 pages today. You must go through page number 16, 17 and 18, okay? Go through that, page number 16 to 18. You will write these new words as definitions. I will also give you a homework along with the video what I upload, and it's given in the dashboard. Children, I hope you all are all studying for your periodic assessment. Again, I repeat, EVS will not be assessed in the periodic term. It will be assessed in your first term, term 1. Okay, as because it is a minor paper. So the mark distribution is also different. Okay, fine. I had spoken about it in the first class. So children, keep studying. Don't stay in front of the laptop or tablet or phone for a long time, because you're already having classes which takes a toll on your eyes as well, because you're having live classes, you're having audiovisual. So try to, other than those hours, try to do something which does not, involve any kind of digital media. Alright? So may I take leave, children? Thank you. Take care and stay safe.